Hey y'all, this is Shane the Creative and welcome to my video. Now listen, I told myself that my next video was not going to be Degrassi related. Had a completely different TV show that I plan on talking about for my next video.
We really don't care.
But this tweet right here is what caused this. So in case you didn't know, there's this trend on Twitter, and yes, I said Twitter, I will never call that app X, where people will be like, anyone got that clip of, and this Twitter user did it with Degrassi. And when I tell y'all, I was scrolling through them quotes and replies. It just brought back so much nostalgia and love I had for the show. But along with seeing clips that's been tucked away in the deep crevices of my memory, I was also seeing some interesting discourse about the show. So I just want to throw in my 2 cents that absolutely no one asked for. So let's get into it. One thing that I saw that was brought up was how the writers of the show tried to put the character Liberty into this character type of being like the ugly, nerdy friend. Now, I think we can all agree that Liberty was a bit of a nerd, a dork even, but ugly, never gave that. But throughout her run of the show, we see how Liberty is portrayed as being the undesirable one within the friend group. Throughout Liberty's first 4 seasons, her storylines literally consist of her annoying her friends and classmates and having one-sided crushes with boys who not only didn't want her at all, but who wanted her friends instead. JT, who wanted Manny, Sean, who wanted Emma, and Chris, who was Emma's ex. The show did a lazy attempt at throwing a mutual love interest at Liberty by having Sean introduce his friend who had a crush on Liberty to her after Sean rejects her. But the relationship is never shown on screen, and the next time Liberty even mentions the relationship is to show that it's already ended. But alas, in season 4, finally we get a love interest as JT finally reciprocates feelings for Liberty after literal years of her chasing after him and him constantly rejecting her, insulting her, all that fun stuff. In the next season, we get Liberty's most major storyline of her becoming pregnant with JT's child. Now, throughout her pregnancy, her and JT broke up and got back together a couple of times, but by the time that the season ends, JT and Liberty aren't together, but thankfully they're on friendly terms after putting her baby up for adoption. In season 6, after JT starts dating Mia, we get Liberty attempting to ruin their relationship as she still has feelings for him. After confessing her feelings and confronting JT about his towards her, we get the tragic killing of our king JT, RIP. For the rest of the season, we see Liberty grieving JT's death and struggling to process her feelings. She also begins having romantic feelings towards Toby and starts clashing and butting heads with Mia. In season 7, we see more Liberty and friends processing his death, but we also get a new love interest for her, Damien. After competing for valedictorian against each other, Liberty and Damien start to realize that they have feelings for each other. But Damien is already in a relationship with Emma. Toby then asks Liberty to prom, which she says yes to, but she shares her feelings for Damien, which upsets Toby. Low-key, rightfully so, considering him and Liberty has kind of became a thing, and he actually wanted to be more than just a thing. He wanted a relationship. So at the prom, there's this moment where Liberty enters and everyone is in such awe of how good she looks, which they should be, because she did look the fuck good, period.
Oh. Hey, call the fire department.
What do you think? To anything?
But it's done in the type of way where like the ugly duckling character gets this makeover, or that old trope of people viewing a girl with glasses as ugly, but once she takes them off, she's magically transformed into this beautiful being. Like, if you grew up watching coming of age stories and teenage centric type of shows and movies, I feel like you know exactly what I'm talking about. That type of moment. That's what they was trying to give with Liberty at the prom.
Gorgeous. You have come a long way since grade 7.
So then Liberty and Damien sneak off together at prom to make out, Minnie confronts Liberty and Toby exposes her, which has Emma heated as she breaks up with Damien. The gang gets mad at Liberty and refuses to talk to her, but eventually forgives her after her speech at graduation. In season 8, we see the girlies explore college life, and Liberty does get a storyline where she tries to get into a sorority and ends up getting alcohol poisoning and pictures of her streaking while intoxicated in the campus newspaper. The sorority still decides to accept her in after that, but only because of her being black. Liberty turns them down and says how she doesn't want to be the token black girl, which is kind of ironic considering she's literally the token black girl of the earlier generation of the show. But this is damn near her last storyline. Like, she pops up in a couple more episodes in season 9, but nothing significant. As I stated earlier, they really tried to portray Liberty as the ugly friend that no one wants throughout most of her time on the show. And she only had one solid on-screen relationship with 2 little flings. That's nothing compared to the amount of love interests and relationships her friends Minnie and Emma have had. And based off of the track records of the writers of the show, especially during this time, I think it's safe to say that her being black and being thicker is the reason why they so easily resorted to pitting her in that role of being the ugly friend of their group. I've talked about the mistreatment of black female characters on the show. I'll link that video in my comments for anyone who wants to check it out. But Liberty is the only main black female character I didn't include into the video because unlike the rest, she seemingly got treated as being a core character as opposed to solely being a supporting plot device for a white character, yet disguised as a main character. But in doing research for this video and looking back at these episodes, I came to realize that although getting a decent amount of screen time, Liberty still didn't get that many storylines either compared to her fellow classmates, the most notable being her teenage pregnancy plot. Alongside that, Liberty was most commonly portrayed as being annoying, obnoxious, arrogant, and not so great of a friend. There was very little positive character traits given to her, again just reinforcing claims that me and many other watchers of the show have made that the writers really paid black female characters dust when it came to actually developing their characters and giving them proper treatment and care as their white counterparts. Now, onto a more lighter note, another character whose clip I kept noticing was Esme. And when I tell y'all, I've been wanting to talk about this girl for a while now. I just didn't know if I wanted to dedicate a whole video to her or not. But to anyone who doesn't know, Esme was introduced in the later / most recent era of the series when the show returned as Degrassi Next Class. Now, when I tell y'all this girl was unhinged, I remember watching the show as it aired and I was so intrigued with her character because of the wild shit she would do just unprovoked. Her first speaking scene was literally of when she cut her own hair in class, then asked Miles to hold the scissors, and then proceeds to tell the teacher that Miles cut her hair and led to him detention. Like, I just feel like that was a perfect introduction to her character and to foreshadow the chaotic energy that followed with her. It was this one clip of her that I saw.
You're not welcome here.
Oh, role reversal. Fun.
You can go too.
That made me realize that there's more of Degrassi Next Class that just isn't in my core set of memories. Because when the hell did she say that, and why would she say that? Like,
Why would she say that? Like,
unhinged. Just wild. From what I do remember, though, is that even though I didn't like her as a person, I was thoroughly interested in her as a character, in her actions, and the reasoning behind them. From constantly supplying Miles prescription drugs even after he went to addiction counseling, to faking a suicide attempt to keep Miles with her, to telling him that Tristan would never wake up from his coma after the bus crash. Like, just all types of shit. And I'll never forgive her for the petty little tormenting she tried to put our queen Shade through. And like, she even really tried to push the narrative to Zig that Saad was solely the one to blame for Maya's attempted suicide. Like, this girl was real vindictive and conniving and just such a bad influence for so many of her classmates. Just nasty negative vibes all around. But we do get a glimpse into the reasoning behind her madness and dramatics. Esme revealed to Zig that her mother committed suicide, and Esme was there to witness it. It's honestly heartbreaking and gives context behind a lot, if not all, of her behavior and actions. And honestly, I couldn't imagine. It also explains the amount of malice she has towards Maya, as she shared her anger as to being the one to find Maya after her suicide attempt.
She's ODing.
Well, should we try to make her throw up?
No, you never do that. I learned that with my mom.
I'm sure that only traumatized her even more than she already was, to have to relive the worst moment in her life like that. So that, and the fact that Maya and Zig had a long running relationship and still stayed friends despite not being together, was more than enough reason for Esme to just hate Maya. Like she hated our girl real bad. So Esme, having the severe abandonment issues she's had and doing the most outrageous shit to keep people in her life and to get attention, makes complete sense, honestly. Now, I ain't saying it's okay, just that I can understand that her toxic traits and behaviors are rooted in the immense unresolved trauma she endured at a young age. Like I said, Esme truly pissed me off most of the time she was on screen, but I genuinely liked her character. As for how interesting and complex she was, like she really came and shook shit up. Like she really came in shaking the motherfucking table. Like goddamn. Then once we finally get her breakdown moment, my heart just breaks for her. Even after she was just at the prom, wielding a knife around and calling them bomb threats and pushing Zig off a hill. I feel like if the show had ran longer, Esme would have gotten the chance to become a more fleshed out character, and she could have gotten a stellar redemption arc after finally getting professional help and treatment. The inclusion of the character Esme is honestly one of the best things that came from Degrassi Next Class. I would have loved to see how far her character could have gone. Now, to finish off the video, another fun talking point I came across was people debating if Drew or Eli was a better fit for Claire. Now, for me, I never really had a dog in this fight, as I personally view Eclare to be toxic as hell. But I also didn't like Clew because, quite frankly, Drew was a shitty person and a shitty boyfriend who didn't deserve any of the girls he was with. But if I had to think about it, I feel like Drew and Claire had some cute moments, I must admit. Especially when he was there for her when she got cancer. But as friends, though, like, their friendship was real cute. I just don't know about them romantically. Plus, at this point, Drew was more mature, but still trash, though. But on the other hand, we got Eclare, who, although toxic, has some genuinely heartfelt moments together. So I get the huge support of fans for their relationship. But the hell that Eli was pitting her through and how bad they got for each other at one point will forever leave a bad taste in my mouth. That, plus Eli really fixing his mouth to call Claire a whore.
Didn't expect to see those from such a whore.
As if he hadn't just cheated on her like a season right before. Like, the fan base letting that man get away with anything makes me dislike him and their toxic relationship even more. Like,
Y'all finna jump me? Be honest.
but still, between Clew and Eclare, I still have no clue who I'm picking. So what about y'all? Which one did y'all ship with Claire more? Comment it down below, along with any other opinions or thoughts you would like to share. Like I say, every Degrassi video, I love discussing this damn show with other fans in the comments. So please feel free. If you enjoyed this video, please, if you could so kindly like it and consider subscribing and or checking out my other videos on my channel. Now, until next time, peace.